We're on.
Kathleen, you want to?
You just want to bring to the stage.
Okay, nobody, we're gonna go ahead and start. My voice is loud enough. Did everybody enjoy the movie?
Oh, yeah.
Let's give them a round of applause once again, y'all.
Thank you so much for presenting this wonderful story. Without you, neither myself or probably people in this audience would have never heard about Ellis. And we just thank you so much for sharing and telling his story. So let's get into the inspiration behind this project. I mean, what drew you to this particular project?
Well, thank you so much for having us, and thank you to Out on Film and Jim and the whole team. This is a special project because Ellis Hazlett was my uncle.
Wow.
And so I've always known that I wanted to tell this story in some way. And as we were approaching the 50th anniversary of Soul, because the show started in September the 8th, 1968, here we are in 2018, I realized, wow, this isn't the best time to tell this story, and also in a moment when we really need stories told by us, for us, and we need Black excellence again, and we need to see that we were always excellent, and we were always proud, and we were always beautiful. It's not just happening now, and we were part of a movement then, and we're part of a movement now. So I just felt like it was time, especially Ellis Hazlett being an openly gay African-American man, and a gay pioneer in television. That story needed to be told, and it's so important to tell our own stories. There's such an erasure going on of our stories in our history now, of not just people of color, LGBT people. It's just really, really important. So I thought, what better time than to tell it now?
I mean, I just have so many questions because, when I see, even when you all show clips of the very first episode and to see LaBelle get their start, on television through the actual show, and so many R&B legends now actually got their start on the show. That was just completely wonderful. How was it actually even growing up, just seeing this history just unfold for you?
Well, I was very young, but I knew that there was something magical about Ellis because he was living with us at the time, and so he would bring a lot of the artists over late at night for oatmeal and strawberries and whipped cream at midnight, and I was crawling around under his feet trying to figure out who were these special people, But then as I grew older, I realized, what a curator he was and how he was pushing the culture forward all the time, and also pushing equality forward, but it wasn't really popular, and that was really, really significant too. And that he could have activists and artists and people who were just really making a difference, and regular people also trying to make a difference, and bring that community and redefine Blackness for ourselves.
Let me move over here to another legend. Let me bow to you, sister. Oh my God, can I get a hug? This legend right here, to see you on screen, I'm so glad that you're still holding on, you're still alive, still in the fight, still in the struggle. Tell us about your experience working with Ellis and being on Soul and being a part of this historic movement.
What I remember is being in a TV studio, which I believe was in New York. I lived at the time in New Haven. And what I remember is, I don't remember anything about Ellis or the cameras, etc., but it was a whole group of young people, one of whom was a 16-year-old high school kid whose name was Mumia Abu-Jamal. And he came up from Philadelphia with his beret, and I had my beret, and there were these young Black Panthers in a TV show, and we were just very excited about being on this show. And I don't think we actually knew much about Ellis, but we knew that we could be on TV and that we could be interviewed and that what we had to say meant something.
Wow. I mean, I'm just flabbergasted right now. So I'm gonna actually see if we got any questions from the audience, because I wanna make sure that you all get the opportunity to engage with our special guest here. Are there any questions in the audience right now? Anybody? Anybody? Yes, miss. Take a stand up, by the way.
Is there any way to get access to view this again? Do you have access online or anything? It was amazing. I was captivated the entire time.
Oh, thank you, thank you. The question is there a way to see it again? We are right now trying to get distribution for the film so that we can release it in theaters and also on VOD and streaming and Netflix, if that's the right home for it. But right now we're traveling the country and taking it out of the country. We're going to be in many different film festivals around the country. You can keep up with us on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and our website. But our goal is to reach a larger audience and also have an educational release because it's really important. It's so much history here. Black history, media history, African American history, world history, television broadcast history. There's so much to teach. So we're going to create little, teaching modules that we can take to schools and universities, and we're going to go on an HBCU tour as well.
Yes, yes.
How many years did it take to actually produce this phenomenon? Because when I see some of the people that participated in the actual, in this film, many of them have passed on now. So how many years did it take to get this completed?
That's a good question. Actually, it took 10 years to complete the film. Yes, and we were very, very honored to be able to interview certain people who have passed on and joined the ancestors. And so that's another reason it was urgent to tell our stories quickly, because many of the master makers of our culture are making their transition to the ancestors, and many haven't had the chance to tell their own stories. And so that was really, really important.
Any other questions from the audience? Yes, Miss. Stand up.
First of all, let me just say that was an awesome expression of the African American experience. I mean, we've seen so many documentaries on what's gone on in this country, and when you think that you've seen them all, to see an undiluted version that has just not been expressed any time before was absolutely amazing. What I want to know is talk about the awards that you've received thus far.
Oh my goodness. We have, this is I think our 7th film festival. So far we have won 3 audience awards, and thank you. We just played at Urban World where we won the jury award from HBO, which is awesome. Urban World is in New York City. And we won the AFI Docs Awards, which is a documentary festival award. And we also won, so it's 5 awards altogether.
Yes.
We just got getting started.
Question in the back, my brother in the back.
Yes, I would like to, first of all, the film was awesome. Thank you so very much. It's a 2-part question to both of you ladies. One is, did your family speak much about his sexual orientation? Right, that's one question. The second question to the Honorable Ms. Catherine Cleaver, what was the Black Panthers' position on sexual variance?
Those are excellent questions. And, the hardest part of honoring Ellis, and well, I should say the most challenging part, was trying to reveal him in the way that was commensurate with the way he revealed himself at the time. And there's such a difference between how people present themselves now, and we have, so much, we wear our identities much more openly. And even though Ellis was gay and proud and open, and, the way we spoke, and especially the challenges in the Black community about embracing same-gender loving people, the way we speak now about that is very different. And so it took me many, many years to try to get the family to open up and sort of peel back the layers of, and to, whether they were revealing their own judgment and love, that there's these dualities within our family, within our culture. And because I had that access and family, I think they trusted me, but it was always harder, especially around the church and the elements of the church that influenced the family. It was hard to get people to open up. But in the end, I think Harold Haslip speaks so perfectly and so openly about it, and I think he really reveals that, and loving Ellis in all of his queerness, and how important that was to nurture him to become who he is today. I'm going to hand the mic to I supposed to respond to the
Can you
question?
repeat the question for Kathleen?
Yes, I was asking if you could tell us what was the position on sexual variance.
I'm not familiar with any particular position. We had a 10-point platform and program, and number one program was we want power to determine the destiny of our own black people, and one about housing, and one in the end to police brutality and murder of black people. That was our position. We weren't, we didn't have any issues with what kind of sexuality a person was if they wanted to be a freedom fighter.
That's good.
That's beautiful. And I also want to remind people about, I think Stokely Carmichael also said something powerful in support of the Gay Liberation Front during the time when people was fighting against the war in Vietnam. So that's a part of that history too. I think we got a question from the brother with glasses. Did you have a question as well? Stand up.
Oh yes, first of all, thank you. And this has ignited my creative juices, and I just want to go back home and write more, and just, I don't know, it's inspired me beyond belief. You know, we're all filmmakers in this line, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just want to know, this film is so impactful. Is there anything else that we can possibly learn that we haven't seen in this film that can go? Can we learn further? Are you making something new, or are you planning on?
You mean around the content of the film?
Yes.
You know, it was really hard to cut the film down. This is a rather long version. Thank you for saying. We'll probably have to cut it down for a traditional theatrical release and also cut it down further for PBS. But we hope to take so many of the other stories that we couldn't fit and create little pods of those, and we're going to release those as we get closer to release, and also release them for educational purposes, because it's a really rich story and it's very layered, and it almost feels like it should be a series. So that's another project too, you know. I also hope to bring this back if there's a way that I can, and I'm hoping that the interest, yes, that the interest that the film will generate will make everyone realize how potent and important this material is, and it should be accessible to all of us at all times. So that's what we're going to try to do. We're trying to bring it back.
One more question I want to ask before we get to the other three. I want to recognize you. Because Ellis's story is so impactful, is there plans to even do a biopic of his life, if possible?
I think it's a great idea, and I've actually pitched the notion of doing a biopic and actually making this into a narrative film.
Wow.
Because I think it would be really, really illuminating as an actual theatrical film and stuff.
Absolutely, yes.
Now I want to get to you first, ma'am. Stand up.
To me, it was such an emotional roller coaster. It was wonderful to see all of the artists, the activists, and the expression of culture. But as the show is being pulled, there just was such a downer. But I truly appreciate the end when you have all of the quick cuts of people that are achievers today. And I thank you so much for, that gives hope, yes.
That was really important to us because as Ellis was an Afrofuturist. You know, he was seeing the future. He was seeing the better possibilities for African Americans. And he had a dream of a better world and a better artistic expression. And in a way, I used his, what he was saying about the dream that he had to underscore who we are now. Because really, it's not just a look back, but it's really about how far we've come and how far we have yet to go. But look at all the artists that are doing that. Look at the people who are taking the knee. Look at the people who are pushing the culture forward. So that's really who we are. We stand on these shoulders, and I wanted it to be uplifting, and I wanted it to be positive and encouraging, because that's really what Soul was all about. That giving a platform for the betterment of our people.
Okay, the next question, stand up.
Hi, Antoinette Levert from Spelman College. So, and I have my class here. So we've been seeing a lot of these kinds of film, from this general era, and then we'll be talking more about, Say Brother and all the other all the other television shows that come out of this. But what I really like want to hear a little bit more about is like on the kind of the craft of putting it together. Is 10 years to get made, and the big thing that I'm really interested in is like the archival footage.
Yes.
You know, from this from the civil rights, I've seen a lot of the same footage again and again and again, and there were new things. I was like, where'd she get that from? So,
Yes.
talk to us a little bit about, because I don't think that people really understand like what it takes to unearth some of this stuff. So if you could, please, thank you.
Yes, the archival was a big challenge and a big adventure, because we wanted to show not only the archive of Soul, which is 130 episodes, which is just massive in and of itself, but to show the zeitgeist, and so what was the context, how you contextualize this story. So we actually, for you filmmakers out there, we created 3 sequences, or what we like to call timelines. So we actually had 3 different stories. Storyline A was the story of Soul. So that was easy because the start was 1968 and we ended in 1973. So we literally put 3x5 cards up on the wall and created a timeline all the way across the room that would show the most salient moments of Soul, from its inception to its heyday, to its crisis, to its cancellation. And storyline B was the story of Ellis Hazlett. Not cradle to grave, because that's not the story we're telling, but how do we drop in on these 5 years of Soul, what he was doing and who he was when he brought to it, and a little bit of what he was after. And then the last storyline, C, was the zeitgeist. What was happening in the world and the country that would have inspired all of these elements. And so that would have been the archival that you would see of what was happening in the nation, what was happening to Black people in the struggle. Then we had these 3 storylines, and they were complete films, believe it or not. Giant, long stories into one story, and find the salient moments from all 3 and marry them together. So that's what really took the better part of a year in the edit room, and unearthing the most accurate, researched, painstakingly researched, thousands of hours of archives to try to find the exact moments so we could illuminate all of that together accurately and also being entertaining and new and fresh. We wanted to have a fresh look at this time, which has been looked at quite a bit. But, with eyes on the prize and all the things that we're used to seeing, we become a little bit almost like inured to it, and I wanted it to be fresh. I wanted people to see it a new way.
Okay, last person in the back with the last question.
I was wondering if there are is there a way to see episodes of Soul, or have you guys thought about releasing the 130 episodes, or a way to see those?
Thank you for asking that question, because I was going to ask that too.
Yes, I think, if I had my way, what I would do is I would release like a box set, either greatest hits of Soul or really, maybe 5 or 10 or 20. I don't have the rights to that. Those are held by WNET. I've encouraged them because I said, this film is just a gateway. It's like a gateway drug to the Soul series. And it just draws you in and then you want to see more. What you can do, 2 ways to see it. There are about 9 episodes on the PBS site. It's called, unfortunately, there's a paywall, so it's called PBS Passport. If you're a member of PBS, you can watch or you can pay. But there's another website that just recently released 20 episodes, and that's called Shout Factory TV. So if you go to Shout Factory TV/Soul, you can watch 20 uninterrupted hour-long episodes that were just recently digitized. And my goal is to bring all of this back and make it accessible as part of our just part of our movement to bring it back to the people, for the people, by the people.
Once again, let's give a round of applause to our wonderful director, to our legend. We're going to continue the conversation and also in the VIP area next door at our Art Museum. On behalf of me and Out on Film and Meak Productions, because we have our own talk show, History of Black in America. After seeing this film, you're actually giving me new inspiration to take my show to the next level. So I thank you so much for this vision, for this project. Thank you so much for everything that you've done for our community. I love you. We love you. Let's give them a hand again as we exit and get ready for the next film. Thank you so much. Oh, this is beautiful.
See y'all next time. We got another Q&A to do later on. So thank you all so much for tuning in on our YouTube live channel, Meak Productions Live at Out on Film 31. See you soon. I'm so excited, y'all.